Today, Seeds of Gold is privileged to meet young stars that are making a difference in agriculture. Students of St. Kizito High School, Namugongo, have made farming so cool that everyone should be able to join the venture. Together with their teachers, the students have fully embraced the holistic and practical skills education program by practicing smart farming in this school.
Agriculture in the past, it was looked at as something like a dirty thing. Most of the young people, they look at it in the negative way. So that is why we brand it as smart agriculture to suit in the modern times.
Using very limited space available, the school has managed to put a number of projects to help both the students, the community, and the school to minimize on spending. These different projects were started with the best of intentions.
And all our projects, our intention is to groom a kind of product. We call them Kizitonians. A kind of Kizitonian who is different, who can really function well in society. A kind of person who will be an investor in future. Because when we talk about investors, we just look at the whites, we look at Americans, we look at Japanese, Chinese, but we can also groom our black investors. With these lessons we are teaching them, with these projects that are to do with agriculture, we impart the skill and change their attitude towards agriculture. They no longer look at agriculture as a dirty thing. They look at it as an income generating activity.
The innovations here blew our minds away. This is a mushroom house, which also doubles as a pyramid garden. The young, enthusiastic agriculturalists are ready and willing to take us through their craft.
The mushroom is a very delicious and edible fungus grown here at school, and we actually enjoy doing it because it's very fun. So, the things needed to grow mushrooms are mainly wastes from the environment. The major waste in this garden is basically cotton husks that we buy from granaries. Otherwise, they would have been burnt or been dumped in sewage areas, but instead, we go and buy it from them and use them for growing mushrooms. So we soak these cotton husks for approximately 24 hours. This is mainly to make them soft enough for the mushrooms to grow on. We add the chemical known as hydrogen peroxide. It is not edible directly to human beings, but when we eat it indirectly, it is okay. After soaking them, we drain them, remove the water. We add the rice bran or maize bran, whichever one you prefer or whichever one is available. After that, we add lime. Lime is basically a regulant. It prevents too much water from entering the garden so that the mushrooms can grow healthy. We don't want mushrooms which have less water, we don't want ones which have too much water. We want the right consistency of water. So after that, we pack them in polythene bags of about, they can be approximately 1 kilo to 1.5 kilos, depending on what you want. But I would advise you to use 1.5 kilos. After that, we cook them. Cooking them, basically, we don't cook them like how you fry matoke or stew. We basically steam them like how you steam matoke. So after steaming them for approximately 5 hours, we remove them. We leave them to cool. After on cooling, we spoon them. Spawning is basically putting in the seeds of the mushrooms so as they can grow. So the seeds appear in a form of a slice of bread. You divide it into into 3 pieces. After that, each piece is used for spawning one garden. This is a garden and this is the house. So for each piece you have cut, you're going to use it for spawning one garden. After that, they incubate for 14 days. This is to enable the mushroom to colonize the whole of its garden. So after that, after the 14 days, we simply come and cut slits in them. After cutting slits, we water. After 3 to 4 days, we have wonderful mushrooms, as you can see. So I'm sure you have noticed a ring like this. It looks something of the sort. Then plus a newspaper at the top. These are all wastes from the environment, but we're using them to grow mushrooms. Reason being, when we are covering the garden up for it to incubate, we need something to allow oxygen to enter. That's why we use this ring to put it at the top, like that. Then we use a newspaper to cover the top like this. So this is mainly to allow the air in, to regulate how much air is entering inside, because a mushroom is a living organism. So that's why we use a polythene bag. A polythene bag is not edible by bacteria, it is not edible by fungi. It is just here to cover our garden, as you can see. So after the mushrooms growing, they are harvested. So as we are harvesting, we simply yank it out. We shake feet left, right, up, down till it comes off. We don't want to damage the inside garden. So that's all we do here in the mushroom house. And this species of mushroom grown in St. Kizito is called the oyster species. It is very delicious, very nutritious. So a kilo of about fresh mushrooms can go at about 8,000 for retail and 5,000 for wholesale. Then dried mushrooms can go about 70,000 for wholesale and 100,000 for retail.
Mushrooms are the fruiting bodies of a larger hidden fungus, which grow from fungal spores that thrive in damp, dark conditions. Mushrooms require a medium that is high in decaying plant matter and often spring directly from dead trees. Plants, on the other hand, grow from seeds and require plenty of sun and soil and don't do well in overly damp environments. Based on what mushrooms need to grow, the school found it conducive to have them here. The air is cool and well moist.
So when you look at our gardens, they are not on the ground, they are suspended. It is also from another waste that we have taken advantage of, as you can see. This is because we want to reduce infection from the ground. Because when we water, we are aware that some water splashes on the ground and comes back up. But it is suspended off the ground. This is to prevent infection as much as possible. And also our mushroom house has the windows that we try to cover, also to prevent dust and other pollutants from entering. Our mushroom house must be cool because the mushrooms are funguses that like cool places. You'll never find mushrooms growing in the dry season because it is hot. We want the air to be cool and moist. We water the mushrooms every day, that is in the morning, in the afternoon and in the evening. This is to give them the best of moisture as possible. We want mushrooms which are not too wet, not too dry. When they are too dry, the customers will complain. They say you're cheating them. When they are too wet, again you're cheating them. So we want it to be just the right consistency of water. So as you can see, we also put a bit of wood down so as to allow us to move easily. Because sometimes a lot of water comes in and we need to navigate. We cannot of course stop harvesting mushrooms that because the floor is too wet. We have to find another solution. That's what St. Kizito is all about. We find the materials from the environment, the wastes, and turn it into useful resources.
The structure is uniquely put using bottles and soil. The reason behind this is to also conserve the environment using the model of reducing, reusing, and recycling.
So this is our mushroom house. It's a structure in which we grow mushrooms. We basically have two types. We have the modern one, which looks like this. Then we have the local one. The local one is basically made out of papyrus mats, while the modern one is made out of different materials. But here in St. Kizito, a school that is all about helping the environment, we reduce pollution by reusing the pollutants, and that's how we do it. So it is reduce, reuse, and recycle, whereby we collect the various pollutants, in this case, bottles. These bottles we collected them from auctions, from occasions like parties. Then after, we came here and sorted them. We sort them, then fill them up with the sand. Then we join them together to form a wall. Here we have used the clay. As you can see, we have used the clay instead of using cement. So after us collecting these bottles, we are saving the environment, whereby instead of them being burnt and polluting the environment, polluting the air, we have helped and put it to good use by building a mushroom house. When you look at this mushroom house, it meets all the qualities of the UN standards, whereby even the project itself as mushroom growing is very acknowledged by the UN. For we are solving very many sustainable development goals, which is one is zero hunger. Mushrooms are edible. Mushrooms also are solving unemployment. Someone like me can begin a business of being a mushroom farmer. So when you look at mushrooms, they are doing so well. Another sustainable development goal is zero pollution, whereby we're using wastes from the environment and putting them into good use, building mushroom houses and growing mushrooms themselves. So the mushroom house does not take up a lot of space, as you will see. It takes a very, very little space. And at the top, we can do something else, something very, very interesting. These are our pyramid gardens that you will soon learn how we make them, everything about them. The mushrooms, a very simple project, very easy to learn, very easy to execute.
Pyramid gardens usually present unique designs that make farming look good and easy on the eye. We are introduced to one of a kind here at the school. These are small backyard gardens which are suitable for small outdoor spaces. The structures are meant to allow a number of plants in a smaller surface. just as easier. Here, what is mainly grown is vegetables. Maximum use of available space. You cannot claim to have no land.
In order to conserve our environment, so we collected various materials as you're seeing. We collected bottles from our compound alongside roads so that we can come up with this circular pyramid garden. Yeah, we use this combining wire, it's here. We use the combining wire in order to join them so that they can come together. After we pad the soil, we put the second layer and the third layer. In this off-grid garden, you can grow there various vegetables. As in, this is spinach and this is green pepper. With this, in order for proper utilization of space. Yeah, and also this thing can help you. Like as you see, the space is very small, but we put many off-ground gardens. Before growing spinach, we had to first put these seeds under a nursery bed. Like we had to mulch, we had to weed. So when time came for transplanting, we had to come and prepare our main garden as you're seeing. Put the soil, we water. After, we had to make a small hole, okay, hole. Then put some manure. As you're seeing in St. Store, we don't have this natural fertilizer, so we decided to use our compost manure, like the compost manure. We first put, after we got our seedling which has grown, we placed it in that hole. Then we covered with a little clump of soil. After covering that little clump of soil, you have to mulch. After mulching, then you water in order to keep our seedling moistened. Since our soil, it doesn't have, like it cannot, there's no way it can absorb water from down, since we having the waterproof polythene. These are rotten materials. So as you're seeing, they are dry. So we use them as manure. There are many things that are rotten, like as you see, the bean husks. There are too many things that got rotten, like others are using the mushrooms, but they can also be used as manure. Yeah, so we use them as manure, like to make our vegetables, for like to maintain the proper growth of our vegetables.
We take a short commercial break, and when we return, off-ground and plant tower gardening are the other types that the school is practicing. We look at the smart agriculture demonstration garden where it all started. Take a look at the poultry project and fish farming. Do not go away. Off-ground and plant tower gardening are the other types that the school is practicing.
We pick the sacks and then we use them to plant. This helps us not to throw away items, like to value those items since they are like gold. This agriculture system, it normally helps us in selling the items, like selling the vegetables to our parents during visitation days, and also to the school. The little money we get, or the huge amount of money we get, it helps us to start the capital, or to continue doing agriculture projects and other projects at school. Well, on this side we have a plant tower. This plant tower is a mini vertical garden whereby you can plant various plants like flowers, vegetables, and herbs. So in our school we decided to plant the vegetables. This planter was made out from the waste, like you can see we also have the waste deckers which are that side. So we normally pick them and you use them to make up something like this. And also these plastic bottles was during an event whereby they are all displayed around the school and also in the rubbish area. So we picked them, used them in our plant tower. So their purpose is to hold the soil not to pass through the mesh, and also to prevent the soil erosion. So in this plant tower, we have, during the irrigation time, there's a major pipe in the interior, and inside also the pipe we have stones. The stones that when you pour water in or irrigate, it makes sure that it equalizes the water inside the plant tower so that the plants can get enough water.
And in this vertical garden, some local tomatoes were planted. I needed to know what inspired the idea. The youngster explains.
As you can see, these are the original tomatoes, and these original tomatoes are tasty and sweet, and they have quality.
The school established this demonstration garden as a basis to impart these practical skills to students, and this has done wonders. Vegetables are mainly grown here, and today there are eggplants and green pepper. And here the water is pumped so as for irrigation to take place when needed. By the time your child leaves school, they can practically do agriculture and earn as opposed to waiting for jobs.
As you can see here, we have the Smart Agriculture Demonstration Garden, which is normally used for teaching the students on the skills of agriculture. So here we have the eggplants, and also the other side we have the green peppers. So normally when we are preparing this garden, we start by sorting out the non-items which are not supposed to be in the garden, like the plastics. And then later, we make sure that the soil is soft enough by adding manure. And you know, during that period, it's the wet dry season, whereby the rain will also help us. So when the soil is soft, it enables us to dig or to make holes in an easy way. Then we transfer these plants from our nursery bed to this garden, and we normally dig 10 centimeters deep by adding more manure, our organic manure, and then inserting in the plants in the morning or in the evening. So when they are already on the farm, we also carry out mulching. The mulching is to help us in moisturizing the soil, not to dry up, even during the day when there is heat. During the dry seasons, we irrigate in the morning and in the evening. But in wet season, it's very rare because we already have the rain, which, like in this month. Yeah. The eggplants, we harvest them after like 5 to 6 months. This sector of agriculture can help the youth a lot, like the way it helps us, the learners, to learn the skills, whereby when we go outside school, we can do it, we normally do it as a way of helping us in making money.
Poultry farming is where birds are domesticated and kept by humans for their eggs, their meat, or their feathers. At this school, they have managed to keep broilers. This hybrid type is easy to look after, and its return on investment is good. Everything is simply put right from the structure, where they reused the old iron sheets to roof. The food fed to this chicken is supplemented by what is grinded at school from leftovers. Nothing is put to waste.
I want to take you through the poultry project. I want to start with the structure, whereby the structure, you don't need a lot of material to start up with the structure for the poultry house. You just need only a few things, the timber and some metals, like how we do here at school. Because there are some metals some remainings like broken beds. We collect those metals and we weld them so that we can make a poultry structure. And then also for the structure, you don't need a lot of space. You only need a small space, whereby you can see here. We only occupy a small space, but we just make levels. Now, like you see, there's the downer level and also another level which is up. So there we can be able to minimize space.
The leftovers of food in this school are not wasted as earlier mentioned. This solar dryer helps to dry the food, which is later grinded for the birds and fish to enjoy. This is an eye-opener to all schools and to those that live in small spaces and claim of how they cannot engage in agriculture.
Here we are pleased to present for you solar food dryer, which means that we use it, we literally call them like food source for what? For our poultry and for the fish. What we do here is that we get the remains from which the students have left that we were supposed to dump them. We form pellets from it, then we put them into our solar dryer. After drying, we get the dried ones, then now we take them to our machine, then we crush them to form a smaller particles from it, because now the bigger one we cannot feed them to our chicken. After forming the smaller ones, that one majorly provides the carbohydrates for what? For our chicken. But now on a normal diet, you cannot give the chickens and the fish only carbohydrate. That's why again we have to think of the eggshells. The eggshells we always get them from our canteen because on daily basis people eat the eggs. Now the eggshells, which instead of throwing them away, we collect them, we dry them in still our same food solar dryer. Then after drying, we crush them. After crushing, we add it onto the grounded posho pellets. That form part of the calcium. Remember we are keeping croilers which needs calcium for their egg laying. We give them back their own eggshells. Then also if we get bones, just like you're seeing bones up there, those ones we also dry them using this same machine. Then after drying, we roast them because bones are kind of different from the eggshells. We need to roast them. After roasting, then we also still grind them using our grinding mills to form powder. Now the powder we subsidize the posho pellets. These machines here we are put in place. We would have used just open place to dry our materials, but then we said if we are to put in an open place, we can take the whole week when it has not dried. That's why we are putting this structure, this green carpet, which help us to concentrate the heat inside this greenhouse. Then now it will become so hot that our material doesn't take long to dry. They dry soft, like if it is sunny, if the weather is okay, it takes just 2 days, then the material is dry. For this particular structure in school, we are using it to dry this waste, but for some who might want to put it at home or wherever they want to put it, they can use it for drying coffee, maize, or even cassava, anything that needs to be dried. Because we have been seeing waste, like students' leftovers being dumped or not put into use. And we realized that instead of buying feeds every day, day in, day out for our chicken, for our fish, we can make feeds out of this so-called waste.
In the same spirit, the school practices fish farming, and this has helped students acquire skills on how best to keep fish. This fish pond also acts as a recreation as students shed off their stress during breaks to relax and feel good while looking at them. Also, the students enjoy the fish in what they call a fish festival that they host every year. There are about 1,000 fish in here: miracup, catfish and tilapia. You too can have a fish pond at home and earn an extra income.
At St. Kizito High School, we also started fish farming. It is in a small environment, but so precise, educative, and all students have benefited a lot from it. The issue and the main intention was supplement on the diet of the students. Every day we feed these fish. We feed them in the morning hours and the evening hours. They feed on fish pellets, but minus that, we also supplement their feeds by crushing the food that we get from the posho leftovers. Students eat and leave food on plates. So that food we collect it, we dry it, crush it, and mix it with eggshells, which contain calcium, because we want our fish also to feed on calcium. We crush together and feed on them so that we reduce on the cost of buying fish pellets to feed our fish.
There is a new upcoming project, all related and feeding into each other. These here are black soldier flies, which work as protein for the fish. In the long run, they would like to upscale and also impact the knowledge and skills to the rest of the country.
We are planning to upscale our projects, and we are planning to transfer this knowledge so that we don't only benefit St. Kizito, we can benefit the whole of Uganda. Because so far our students have benefited, and we have groomed champions, and we want to use those champions we have groomed to groom the rest of the youth in Uganda, so that we change the attitude of these people.